Big time fun hangout. Can't wait. It is Monday here in the basement. Just a couple things, and then we're going to bring OG on to help us with. Actually, let's bring OG on right now. Let's do that. Enough of that. So OG and I'll talk a little bit about what's going on while we're waiting for people to hang up. What's up with you, dude?
Got the candle in the background. You know.
Just
a candle kind of day. That's all.
It is. There's nothing I think of more than OG and candles together.
Teakwood.
That's it.
Something or another.
That actually, as you know, gets me through the winter with the cold floor in the basement.
You use it to heat your floors or feet or something? Candles?
It is seriously psychological. You put a candle burning next to you and I feel warmer. No idea why. But it works. So not forever. That's
not how that works.
At some point, your feet are still ice cubes. However, over the short run,
That's what slippers are for.
Speaking of that, oh no, well, I don't have my slippers on. Usually I do. Speaking of that, there is snow on the ground. Happy spring.
That's awesome. Sucker. I think it's gonna be 85 on Wednesday here or something.
It's so great.
We've had a lot of rain. Lots of rain. Most rain in Dallas history so far.
Well, can't wait till you hear later in the week to record next week's episodes because you'll get to share in the snow with us next week. Absolutely. By the way, everybody. So let's get to a few of these things. We're waiting for people to come hang out with us. Number one is coming up this week on the show. We've got some speaking of Ask Us Anything, OG and I haven't asked me anything. Ask Us Anything. Our first ever. We've been doing this, 9 years? And we finally had an Ask Us Anything episode, which will be...
Well, I mean, I've been doing it a long time on Facebook, and we've done letters episodes, kind of same deal.
Yeah, but we've never done... I mean, people are asking us about board games, our favorite chain restaurant, like all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, it's a little different than our usual letters episodes. And then on Friday, you, Paula, and Len are going to join us on a roundtable along with the guys from the Ortis Academy. So, which, by the way, if you're looking for stuff for your kids to do while you're
read.
Yeah. Well, you know how we've said over and over, there's all these programs, these financial literacy programs that don't work. Right. Mm-hmm. So the Ortis Academy really has a history of working. And it's I mean, these guys have put together a fantastic curriculum. I feel bad because I feel like there's lots of
not supposed to touch your face.
There's lots of well-meaning people out there who I haven't been outside the basement all day. Like if coronavirus somehow got in here, like something happened. We'll need a new theory about how this whole thing works. But if where was I going with that? Oh, lots of well-meaning people. Thank you. Lots of well-meaning people creating curriculums right now without really knowing what the heck they're talking about. And so I'd much rather have people, if you're going to have your kids do something, have them do something with a group that has a history of success, especially when it comes to financial literacy. So interesting. Next up, I want to talk about this thing that we've got on the Haven Lifeline.
The whatchamacallit, the brackets.
The whatchamacallit brackets thingy. Let's talk about while we're waiting for people to find us. By the way, and let me type to Tina. There's 46 people waiting for us on the channel that didn't work, which is good, which is fantastic. What can we do? It's very difficult. Anyway, by the way, welcome to our hangout. If you want to hang out with OG and I, if you've got questions, put questions below.
That would be OG and me.
Me be OG and us.
Yeah. Where do I get to see the questions? I want to see the questions. Do I get to see them somewhere?
You will. Yeah. When we finally have somebody out themselves. But let's talk about here the first round of this. So let me see if I can. Gertrude gave me the list. Here they are. So the first round, I think some of these OG won't surprise you. First round game was buy term life insurance versus open a 529 plan. I mean, only so many people have the need of a 529 plan, right? And a much
Right.
bigger percentage of people need term life insurance. 167 to 29 was the final score of that game. Not at all
It's a
surprising.
whooping.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and also in the first round, then create a budget and automate
Oh, I
savings.
see it. The people like have the thing on the side there.
Yes.
There you go.
I thought this would be close. Create a budget and automate savings. If people have been to the original Haven Life post, they'll know that I had automate savings going the whole way. But I thought, somebody else had create budget going the whole way. 160 to 79. Automate savings in for the win.
That's why you suck at March Madness brackets.
I guess so. Invest the route of the first round. Invest in cryptocurrency versus open a brokerage account.
Crypto.
158 to 5.
Crypto?
Five people actually put invest in crypto.
Oh.
Was the better thing to do. You're on the crypto train. Did you have all 5 of those votes?
Yeah.
Pick up a side hustle against continue your education. I thought this one also might be close. Kind of close. It was close for a while. I believe that there was a 5-vote difference, but pick up side hustle wins 108-64. The closest game of all. Guess who won this one? Pay off student loans versus max out your IRA.
Should be max out your IRA.
Max out your IRA won 110 to 99.
See?
Very close. 53 to 47%. Next closest was this one. Pay off your mortgage versus start a business.
Mortgage.
Pay off your mortgage one. Yeah.
Yep.
I would start a business. I don't know about you. Would you pay off your mortgage or start a business?
If I had a choice between the two right now, considering I already have 3 or 4 businesses that I run, I'd pay off my mortgage. I don't need to start a fifth. A lot of people, are you doing a little bit of the like kind of nesting / house cleanup stuff during your time? I mean, for you and me, this is very similar to a normal day.
A normal day,
right? Working from home, we're kind of used to it, but I know a lot of people are doing the clean up closets and that sort of thing, kind of clean stuff. Anyway, I found a whoa, all right, let's hang out. I don't know what that means, but it says let's hang out right underneath your name.
Did you do that? It went there magically. I don't know how that would have gotten there.
I don't either, but it's kind of weird. Anyways, I found a whole bunch of Slinky Post-its in a box, which is great because I'm out of Post-its.
I thought you were going to say because you're out of toilet paper.
Yeah, right.
So there you go.
So I'm just wondering, what else we're going to find as we go through boxes and boxes and boxes throughout our house. Just
did you see that cities are having problems with plumbing and sewers because people are flushing bad stuff down the drain.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. All right. 2 more here. Contribute to a 401k versus pay off your credit card. Pay off your credit card wins big, 177.89. And save for a vacation, as we predicted, got creamed by Build an Emergency Fund, 228 to 11. So next one, by the way, starts on Tuesday through Thursday. We got Tuesday through Thursday, Friday through the weekend is the next round. All right. Ready to take some questions?
Bring the lumber.
Let's start. Hey, Susan's here with us. Susan, I've seen it all over the place, but you were the first one to that had this thing about refer to your people in your house and animals in your house as coworkers. You see that and tell us what they're doing right now, and lots of things about things your coworkers are doing. I thought that was pretty good, Susan.
Like change the phraseology to my coworkers are.
Yes, like people with young kids.
Instead of my pets are or my kids are. Yeah.
People with young kids were saying, like, my coworker just asked me to wipe his butt. Yeah, stuff like that. Yes. Jelen MD says, how's the market been lately? It's funny. I've been so busy today. I haven't even looked.
I have no idea.
I know the futures were horrible this morning, and
only down 3.
Only down 541. So # winning.
Well, you got to use percentages.
Yes. Only down 3% today. So
So
more
far.
up, more
There's
the
still
same.
time.
By the way, OG, that brings up something. Did you see the person asking about a depression in the basement?
Yes.
We don't even know. Let's be clear, guys. We don't even know if we have a recession yet. Number one, if you haven't
What's the
listened to
definition?
I think we have to have 2 or 3 months of data, so we won't know until we get into it for 2 or 3 months.
2 quarters of negative GDP growth.
There you go.
So how long is a quarter? 6
Uh,
months. So it may end up being
a quarter,
right?
6 months.
A quarter is 3 months. 2
Right.
consecutive quarters.
I know.
So it may end up being a recession,
It might
but
be.
we're not going to know. And that's the same thing. I mean, it's a good corollary to like market timing too, right? How do you know your portfolio is going to go down 20%? Well, the only way you know it's going to go down 20% is if it goes down 20%. Because if it's down 15, it doesn't mean it's going to go down 20. If it's down 30, it doesn't mean it's going to go down 40. You know what I mean? So we won't know it's in it. We're in it until we're in it, and we'll probably be out of it before we know we're out of it also. I don't know. You and I talk about this on this week's episodes quite a bit about kind of how we feel about the experience that we've had over a couple of decades of kind of going through this a little bit. And it just doesn't seem like anything nearly as bad as any of the other stuff,
No, I think you get comfortable being uncomfortable,
No, this is not comfortable.
That's what I said. I think you get comfortable being uncomfortable. I'm incredibly uncomfortable. I don't know where the market's going tomorrow, but I'm much more comfortable being uncomfortable now than I was in 2000, 2002, which was my first downturn. But I think worrying about a depression at this point is way over the, and asking if you would invest if this were a depression. We don't know how jobs are going to be the next, the big thing I worry about is if you have a job. And by the way, you want to get that for me? That'd be great. If
not me.
If it is totally me and it's way over there. So, that's not distracting at all. So if you, this is why you turn off your ringer.
Life. I know I did mine. I mean, I got mine right here. I'm still going to text throughout this whole thing, just like I do when we record, but
that's right. Still going to do 3 things at once.
Now, why did you do that?
Not good. To put you up here on the screen while I run across the room and get my, my phone. So, hey, so why don't you pontificate for a second and I'll be right back.
I think, and you just turn the screen off. You can just get up. You don't have to turn the screen off. That's pretty stupid. No, the thing that I've been kind of observing or just kind of feeling out the last several weeks is the biggest difference in this downturn versus some of the other ones is that I think the post-mortem of like 2008 or 2009, 2000 to 2003, that time period was that you could easily see why it did what it did. You could say, yeah, I get it, right? Like, oh, okay, I know why the market took a crap in 2008 because, housing prices or because of debt or whatever the case may be. And here we are now, and the economy 6 weeks ago was gangbusters. I mean, it was awesome, right? So the biggest difference is that we went into this with a very, very, very strong economy. Now, we don't know how long it's going to last. We don't know how long it's going to be. We don't know what people are going to do when things do kind of get back to normal, air quotes. And to be sure, in terms of the hierarchy, if you will, and that's not the right word, the food chain, I mean, people that are hourly service-based workers, they're going to feel it a lot different than, the estate planning attorneys. It just is what it is. And if you're a business owner, if you're a really small business owner, it's going to impact you a lot more. But I mean, I'm hopeful that from a time period, we get through it and people have kind of a little bit more of a built up demand than, in 2001, let's say 9/11 happens. People didn't want to travel because they were concerned about the safety of air travel. Not because the government didn't tell them they couldn't travel. We were just like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to get on a plane. I don't know if these new things are going to cover me. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going, I really want to go to Disney. And I'm just waiting for this to,
No
go.
lines.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, like from a scheduling standpoint.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like they're just going to say, we put this off. We had a project that we were doing in our backyard, a kind of a remodel thing, and we're not doing it right now. I canceled it. And I didn't cancel forever. I canceled until we get through however long this is going to be, and as soon as I feel like we got the all clear, I'm going to have them come back out and finish it. So I think there's a lot of that, hopefully, but we'll see.
Yeah. Worrying about any type of depression today is, and by the way, the question that the person had too in the Facebook group was, would you keep investing during a depression?
Well, I mean, but during a depression, you might not have a choice. You might.
Well, that's my point. Is that I mean, you might not have a job. You might not have I mean, you might be huddle around whatever income that you have. You might be living off of your emergency fund. No, you're not going to be doing it. I think you think a lot differently. So, and that's going to be a case by case basis.
Looks like Joe froze himself with his high quality internet.
Hustle. What's that?
It looked like you froze yourself with your high quality internet.
It is a great time to be thinking about different streams of income, I think. So I think trying to start the actual business, it might not be a great time, but building the framework, I think it's a fantastic time. What's your favorite resource? Favorite book?
I didn't hear anything you said because you're completely frozen.
Did you see the question on the screen?
Well, it was there for like 10 seconds, so I can't read that fast. And you're still frozen, by the way. Gotta love the internet. What's my favorite resource for starting a side hustle? I don't know what you said, but I like what's that podcast? Side Hustle Nation or something? That's a good podcast.
Nick Loper?
Mm-hmm. I like that.
I like the book. There's a fantastic book called The E-Myth. I think that anybody who owns a business, whether it's side hustle or not, should look at the E-Myth. You should definitely read the E-Myth because it'll tell you that, everything you think you know about business is wrong. So I would definitely.
Can you hear that? Or the microphone? No? Oh, that's impressive. Because that is a very loud event happening.
I just heard it. Just a little bit. Yeah. Good stuff. All right. To be Schlee. Maybe.
Yep. I can see that one.
Yep. Friends, Devin, a big picture retirement, discuss converting an IRA to a Roth. So the answer, and by the way, we're tackling this on Wednesday show, OG as well.
Gosh, I wonder what I said there. I should make sure that I said the same thing or different.
Well, the answer is
more exciting would be that it would be different.
It would be if we give different direction, depending on where you see us. Right.
Yeah.
It's a kaleidoscope. No, I think.
Good.
I think that the answer here is absolutely. However, your point on the show, OG, was that it really is nothing different. You're going to move fewer assets over, and so you'll pay a lower tax. But if you're in a lower tax bracket for whatever reason, maybe it's a great time to do it.
Yeah. I mean, again, I wouldn't be moving money at 32% bracket just because it's lower. I mean, that's a tough. I suppose there's some calculation out there somewhere, and there's people way smarter than me that have Excel spreadsheets, quality Excel spreadsheet capabilities to be able to figure out like, well, if we get a 30% rise in the market and, then it makes sense to pay taxes up to this amount because the break even. I still say you fill up your tax bracket as much as you can, and you'll move over whatever you can move over. and make sure it's invested the right way. And then hopefully, yeah, you do get a nice rebound for that from the Roth. But I wouldn't just carte blanche generally say, all right, well, I've got 500 grand in my IRA. Let's do a Roth conversion. And I would pay 200 some odd $1,000 in taxes because it's easier or cheaper today. It's not, it's still 200 grand, so.
Favorite low carb cocktail?
Wine.
Yeah, and it's funny talking to our friend Angelo Poli. I was surprised though about how close wine is to beer. Like if I'm going with Les, he's always more about like a Scotch. So I would I like Lafroig myself. Basically, it's Scotch where you take a bunch of dirt and stick it in your mouth. I don't know why, but
dirty boot.
I don't know why, but the peatier the Scotch, the peatier the Scotch, the more I like it.
Huh.
The clean stuff.
You should have some of this Lagavulin that I've got. It's like a sweaty Scottish, kilt wearing, wife throwing, boot. Dude, that's what it sounds like. But we drink a lot of old fashions in my house, which have just we put less and less sugar in it, which that's the thing is, try to take the sugar out of it. But so it turns into basically some bitters, an orange slice, and bourbon, and a splash of sugar.
Perfect. And I'm sure people are going to be drinking a few of those if you partake, the way this market's been. Hopefully not too many more. Money Saver, question RMDs, is withdrawal by total in all applicable accounts or individually?
Well, it's actually by account type. So your required minimum distribution is required. Now you can hear that. Tell me you can hear that.
We can totally hear that.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's still not loud. It's way in the background.
Oh, good. All right. Well, now talk. So it's by account type. So you have to aggregate all of your 401k plans and take an RMD from those. You have to aggregate all of your IRAs, take an RMD from those. And you can take it all from one of your IRAs, or you can take it from, evenly. If you've got 3 of them, you can take however you want. But IRAs, you got to group together. 401ks group together. 403bs got to group together.
Lots of people commenting about the bag. A lot of people don't know the story of the bag. It was
Richie said he found the dessert portion where we talked about it recently. January
something
12th, somewhere in there.
Yes, we talked about it.
Seems like we do that every so often and forget that there's more than like 2 people. It's like, hey, I've told this story 47 million times.
Right.
Here's the short version. We were taking pictures.
And you're gone. I think it's different. I think I'm still here and you're gone. I'm seeing everything fine. My network quality says it's really good and you are frozen, my friend. So we'll see when we get him back. Karen, our Friday producer for the show, hanging out with us. My coworker's doing jumpy jacks, watching TV. That's fun. I don't know if this is good or not, Susan. It's funny because I hear people say that this is the way to go, but I don't know that I'm there. I think that watching it and knowing what stimulus your portfolio responds to, I think is super important. So I'm a big fan of actually knowing what's up with your portfolio. And I know that's hard, right? Watching your money disappear overnight. But I still think that when it comes to this stuff, being able to know how things are reacting will show you what we all already know. Listen, what we know is that standard deviation is a two-way street, right? We've got stuff that goes up a lot and goes down a lot. We've got our things that go up and down just a little bit. So this one, I want to know that the things that go down the most the things that also go up the most, which is true. That's the way that it works. And I'm hoping that I'm not offline. Yeah. John's got us. Okay. Yeah, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I thought that I was sitting here talking to myself. So we'll get OG back as soon as he can get back. I think the people in the next room might have accidentally disconnected his stuff. So, okay, next up, Gregory's here with us. Oh, before Gregory, don't want to forget Emily. I got a few thousand set aside to buy stocks on sale. Better to dump in now, wait for a bigger drop, or spread out buys within the next few weeks. So here's the thing. Whenever we would get this question when I was a financial planner, and hopefully when OG comes back, Emily will ask him also. But my standpoint is market goes up 70% of the time. So you have to ask yourself, which one makes you more upset? Because it really is more about you. 70% of the time, the right move to do is to put it in right now. However, there's sometimes that are more 70% than others. Clearly today is a better day to do it, I would think, than in January was. However, we would have said the same thing in January because you don't know when this stuff's going to hit. So, but certainly now that we've had a giant downturn, I think we've got less room to fall, certainly, than we had before. So if you would feel a rock in your gut, losing some money right away before it rebounds, well, then certainly dollar cost average in. To be clear, though, dollar cost averaging usually doesn't make you more money. Dollar cost averaging just saves you from the chance that possibly the market goes down more, makes you feel better, right? And to that end, whenever you're buying, if you're going to buy individual stocks, one thing I like looking at is inside trading. And insider trading, you hear about people going to jail when you hear about insider trading happens all the time. The insiders just have rules about how they can trade and what they're allowed to do and what they can't. And one of the rules is that we have to be able to see them trading. So if you go to, I believe CNBC does a great job of this on their site, you can see them trading. And if I see an insider who's trading a lot of their stuff at the time that I'm buying or want to buy, I got to ask why that is. Now, but if I see trades every month, the same number of shares, the same dollar amount, usually this is trading out. That just shows me it's a financial plan where they're diversifying their income stream. And I think they're either working with a professional, they're pretty smart, right? Because they're doing it a little bit at a time. So, it could be the same for you. Set up a certain time frame, sell. Doesn't mean that it's going to be more profitable. 70% of the time it wasn't more profitable, but it does mean that it's a little less risky. All right. No OG yet. So I'm going to ping him on his phone and say, all right. So I just pinged him. He has no idea what's going on. In fact, let's see what we've got. He says he doesn't know what's wrong. Okay. Well, we're going to keep going. But that's what he and I have said several times on the show also. All right. On to the next thing. Colin, what's my favorite version of Ticket to Ride? So I'm in love right now with the Japan and the Italy boards. They're the newest Ticket to Ride. We played it this last week, and a couple really fun games, way different than each other, but also super fun. I also like, that one you can't get. I like the Ticket to Ride that is Nordic countries, but Nordic countries also has a lot of, you find yourself waiting for wild cards a lot. Here he comes. So those are my favorites. Be curious to see what everybody else's favorites are. You're back.
I think your internet sucks so bad it kicked me off.
That's exactly what happened. It's time and again, it's my internet, and your microphone's not coming through either, by the way. Amanda, Open my accounts, do some rebalancing. Amanda's talking to Susan.
Ouch.
Let's talk about this. Susan said something interesting, that she has not looked at her account since things started. I don't know where I sit with that. There's a piece of me that, because I hear that all the time, just don't look. I like knowing, even though it puts a real pit in my stomach because I watch things go down, I like seeing how my different stuff reacts to different economic conditions. Makes me feel better when I know that my one piece of my portfolio acts this way versus another piece. I like that way better.
You must not have looked at your portfolio recently, because here's the thing. Everything is all almost exactly down the same.
Sure.
So it's like, to your point, you'd say, oh, well, I like looking at how these things react differently. They're not reacting differently. The only thing, it's like this is down a whole bunch, and this is also down a whole bunch, and that's down a whole bunch, and that's.
But I still like seeing that. And the reason I like seeing that is if I've got everything, no matter what the normal standard deviation is, that's going down the same, you know what that tells me? We have indiscriminate selling going on. We got people in full-fledged panic mode, indiscriminate selling. I mean, that gives me a lot of information right there too, right? If I don't see small caps going down more than large caps, or if I see, gold going down at the same time that everything else is going down, it's still more information. It gives me information.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't like looking at it. I mean, I have to. That's what I do for work, but
Emily asked this, and let's see if your answer reflects mine. She's wondering if she should dump the money in now, wait for a bigger drop, or spread them out over the next few weeks.
Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. In 10 years from now, buying at 2,400, 2,300, 2,500, 2,200, any of those numbers is going to look like a genius move. If you wait to try to find exactly where the bottom is, you're going to probably miss it. So rather than stressing out about it, why not just put it all in and just know that, there's a real high likelihood that 3 years from now, you'll have a 30% return on your money, and be okay with that. And maybe it'll be 27%, maybe it'll be 32%, but it's going to be in the ballpark.
People helping people out here. Oh, gee. Susan says she likes Chris Guillebeau's Side Hustle School as well. Another good resource about side hustles. Emily also asked, Emily asked the same question again. Army Grunt says wine isn't a cocktail. Oh, gee. So there you go.
Army Grunt should know better, because in the field, everything can be a cocktail.
Keith says restaurants in New Orleans now selling bottles of wine up to 50% off with your to-go meal order. That's that is big time hashtag winning. I like the all caps there too, Keith.
Yeah, we've got that going on here. Ours is doing, or a lot of places around us are doing like cook to go orders, not like to go orders like here's your cheeseburgers, but here's a pound of hamburger, 4 buns, 4 slices of cheese, a tomato, a bag of fries to put in the oven, and a 5th of Tito's.
Gregory with a Scotch tip, throw an ice cube in there. It's a little smoother, slightly sweeter. I do that. Some purist Gregory, though.
You fill yours up all with ice and then put a little bit of Scotch in the bottom.
Yes. And I pretty much drink water with the flavor, with the Scotch flavor. Good stuff. All right.
328. So the person that says that I have a fast internet envy is not true, as I have 328 as my download speed right now. So that's pretty good, considering Gregory, I have 3 kids on 2 Xboxes and 4 iPads right now. So
I like how you got 2 kids on 16 different devices.
That's good. 3 kids on 2 Xboxes.
Yes. And iPads.
And 4 iPads.
Yes. Multitasking.
Mm-hmm. Well, they got to listen to the streamer while they play the game.
What's really happening is he's got every kid mining for Bitcoin right now. Because
that would be great. That's a good idea. I didn't think about that one. Let me teach you kids some programming skills.
Get back to work. The mine is still open. Yeah. Susan says if she looks, she gets obsessed.
Yeah.
So Ethan says, should a portfolio have a small portion for commodities? And how do those commodity mutual funds work? Do I own the commodity? Do I own companies that deal in those commodities?
Everyone's going to be different. If it's a straight up natural resources ETF, you probably own parts of that. If it's like an exchange traded note, an ETN, it's going to be more commodity itself, like oil and barrels and gold and bars and that sort of stuff. The more you get to like an exchange traded fund or a mutual fund, it's probably a lot more around companies that work in that industry and therefore have some high correlation to that product itself.
But either way, usually you're getting pretty much the same outcome if your goal is diversification, aren't you? I mean, whether you buy the ETN that has the commodity in it, or you're buying a ETF that has the lumber company in it or the mining company in it or whatever it is. I mean, there's a high degree of correlation between those stocks and the things that they do. So if that's your goal, what I would say though is, I don't know though, OG, that I would load up on those. I remember doing model portfolios and about 5% maximum was kind of a good number.
Okay.
Yes, no?
Sure. No opinion.
Melissa says, Doug's internet sucked the life out of yours.
Not untrue.
I think that's gotta be what happened. Expansion set for Ticket to Ride. That's fun. The mega cities. Do you get the mega cities or the,
I have an update on Monopoly. It's not really an update for people listening because they haven't heard the first story yet.
Right.
There is a first story. And this is like
coming.
What is it called when you do like Star Wars 4 and then you go back and do Star Wars 1?
Messing up the timeline.
I got it. Okay. Well, anyway, messing up the timeline.
Breaking the streams.
Got the second kid to cry in this last one.
Perfect.
Yep.
That is perfect.
2 for 2. I got two children crying. Also, one by whooping butt again. Just 2 for 2.
You're going to teach your kids just not to play games with you. That's what you're going to
play
teach
Monopoly, basically.
Yes.
Which is, I think what you were trying to also pass along without like having it passed along. You were like, if I can just get more people to hate this game, then it will go away.
That is true. Listen, when it comes to Monopoly, beat the hell out of them because you never got to play that again. That is absolutely perfect. I will say this. I had a game. We were playing this game where you're building cars in the early days of German engineering, Mercedes-Benz and stuff like that. It's called Kraftwagen. So we all own these car companies. What was funny was at the end of the game, I could tell that Cheryl kind of liked the game. Mm-hmm. And my son, Nick, liked it a fair amount. Nick already knew that he'd lost, by the way, but then Cheryl told me her score and I lost by 1.
Ooh.
But I'd really, and I'll tell just our little group here, I really won by 10, but I didn't tell anybody that because it was way better. It was way better in my family to have Cheryl win by 1. Okay. Like it was super. Sometimes I don't like lying. What's that Mark Twain thing? I don't like lying because I don't have a good enough memory. Right. But if there's a white lie that just makes people want to come back and play games more often, I'll play some client golf when it comes to board games. Whenever. Ben says, why is the fire community so against active investing? I find it frustrating. Most people don't think they can coexist.
Yeah.
I don't know, because maybe it's because I'm, for some reason, maybe considered, I don't know if I'm too old or what, but like, I didn't get.
That's generally true for about everything.
Grant spent the night at my house and we got along great. And I wasn't invited to speak at the whatever thing in St. Louis. So I have no idea. I'm apparently not a piece of that, but the active investing thing, here's what I like, OG, about that. I like the fact that you are, with passive investing, you then are focusing on the piece of your plan that you can control, not what you can't control. I think too many people with active investing think that there's a magic set of numbers that are going to solve the problem for you. When you completely take that off the table, the part that I super like about indexing is that okay, now my investments are going to go the way that the market goes. And because I can't predict, if I go to the random walk down Wall Street, because I can't predict who's going to win, I then instead say, you know what? I'm going to focus on other stuff and I'm going to win as much as the market does. I like that.
True. And the interesting thing, of course, is that the vast majority of people just actively trade passive investments, which is
Right,
its own comical thing.
Right.
The
When you look
reason-
at what people really do versus what
Yeah.
people say, statistics will show you that people are active.
I think that part of the reason is because the messaging is incorrect. You know, we take stuff that serves our purpose, and then we kind of twist it just a smidge to make it even more perfect for our purpose. So we'll take the active versus passive thing, for example. And what you hear you can't beat the market. That's why you go passive, right? That's why you index, because you can't beat the market. Well, that series of language is factually incorrect. You can't beat the market is not true. A third of the people do. A third of the active mutual funds do over time, even more sometimes. You know, I just read an article that hedge funds are only down 9% right now. By definition, they're beating the market. So don't tell me that you can't do it. It's doable. What we're really trying to say is that it's very difficult to do, and you can't predict it in advance. So when you are looking at a mutual fund or looking at an investment, and you've got this person that's running it, and that person's been beating the market 15 years in a row, none of that matters as to whether or not that person will beat it the 16th year in a row. The other side of the coin is that it's also generally more expensive to try to beat the market, right? Because you've got trading costs and you have people and you have buildings full of them trying to find the one specific thing, right? Well, I guess Joe's gone now again, or maybe I'm gone. I don't know. There he is. He switched me around. I know why. He switched me around. So when I go like this, I go like this.
I did it specifically because I had a little frog in my throat and I had to cough. And in these days, if you cough, everybody's going to wonder if
you got the Rona.
If I've got the Rona. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, so it's generally more expensive to do it, right? So if you can find an opportunity to try to beat the market that is lower cost, that's more preferable to a higher cost one. So if we use the right terminology and say it's generally more expensive to try to beat the market, the average person doesn't do it over a long period of time, or the average investment or investor, professional, whatever, doesn't do it over a long period of time. Very hard to predict in advance. All of those things lead us to say, well, then it probably makes sense to be a passive investor.
Yeah.
But we synthesize that and go, well, you can't beat the market, so why try? And I can point to hundreds of investments that beat the market on a daily basis. If your portfolio went down something less than 15% last week, guess what? You beat the market.
You beat the market.
So it's doable. It's just, so we got to use the right terminology. But
I'll tell you, I have no problem with the passive investing approach. What I don't like myself is why we stop at VTSAX only. Why do we stop at the total market index when finding the efficient frontier is not that hard, and having good diversification is not that hard? Like, I feel like we stop at a dumb place. If they took that one step further and just went to the efficient frontier, I would be so much happier. The whole focus on one fund. And then you ask, well, why are we stopping at one fund? Well, because it's so much easier than trying to figure out, and there's not that much difference. If it was a lot of work to find the appropriate mix of investments, I'd be with you. But I think that's a false dichotomy, because it isn't that hard. Like, it's not that hard.
Well, again, it's better than nothing. I'd rather everybody have their money in the total market index fund than no money at all. But anyway, so.
Zach has some feelings about cocktails that we can get behind.
Yes.
Favorite is a double.
There you go.
That's the voice of reason. Zach is finally here. Thank you. John says he likes your advice. Always helps you with a better, healthier mindset.
Tell your
friends.
You
don't hang out with him all day, though. You get the rest of it, and it's not that great. Just saying. Just keeping it real. Eric's here. Eric's played Craft Wagon. I appreciate the longer term perspective you guys offer. Fundamentals remain fundamentals. Yeah, please don't. I don't know if there was a certain part of the show today that we won't talk about where somebody was really frustrated that we don't get panicky enough, and I feel bad for those people.
Well, we just don't record the panic. We run around like our hair's on fire. Also, we just don't record that part.
The second that we hit stop on this video, we're like, oh my God, what are we going to do next? That's exactly. Well, do you think they bought it? You think they bought it? Right. Ethan, if you like Catan, I think that Ticket to Ride is a game that's very similar in weight to Settlers of Catan. I also think a game like Splendor would be good. There's a bunch of people here, I'm sure, that know some good board games about the same weight. If you like wine, I like a game called Viticulture. That's one of my favorite games. Oh boy, Army Grunt has a question that's clearly for me.
The only plane I've ever flown in my life is a Cirrus, so I would say Cirrus.
It's supposed to be longer than that. Longer answer, so I can get a drink while you pontificate about planes. I thought you were going to go further.
No, I don't have anything to say about it. It's I'm just waiting for the final check ride. So
Rena's here with us. Would you recommend realizing some losses to buy something else? Is there an amount limit to how much it loses, and it's worth, or depends on the amount of losses? So what Rena might want to know a little bit about tax loss harvesting.
I'm not totally convinced that it's actually worth it, but I like having that in my back pocket. So you might have some positions that are down a few grand, 10 grand, 20 grand, 5 grand, 1 grand. And as long as you're not out of the market during that period. So it's really important to take like the position that you have. Let's say you have a $10,000 holding in US stocks, and today it's worth 7,000, and you want to replace that with something else. Take the loss, take the $3,000 loss so that you can write it off on your taxes, but make sure that before you leave that trading screen, you've also reinvested that other 7,000, because there's so much volatility going on, and you happen to have a day where the market's down 5%. There's a good chance the next day the market's going to be up 4 or 5%. And if that's the case, you want to take part of that. Under normal circumstances, you don't see that volatility as much, but because now we do, you just can't be out for a day. So you can't sell today and then think about it tomorrow and buy tomorrow or something like that. You have to sell today, buy today, the same asset class, so you're still invested, and then you get this little write-off for later, which you may use.
Melissa's wondering what the drinking game rules are for this video. We should have had that posted ahead of time.
I don't think that we're allowed to do that.
That would, well, not us, but if people are paying attention,
I can do whatever I want. The last I checked, it said something about 50%.
Justin bought some.
This is my coffee cup from the Caymans, by the way. Oh. I know you kind of collect coffee cups, so this is kind of cool, huh? Like it's got a little ship on it. There you go.
Mine from Zion.
Trying to make mine level in the camera. It's very difficult.
I like that one. The thing I like about this one, OG, is that check out the inside is a map of Zion.
Yeah. So if you got lost while you were drinking coffee in the national park, you could break the glass and piece it together.
That's all I need.
You'd be able to find your way out of it.
That's all I need. I take this everywhere. That's why I've been clipping this to my belt in case I get kidnapped and somebody takes me out to Zion. I'm good.
And you have a coffee cup.
Justin, yeah, exactly. Bought some funeral and flower stock the other day, made some cash. Am I wrong? Daddy's got to eat. I'm not sure where Justin's going there. But
okay, good job.
Colin, wife whooped his butt 4 times in the farming game this weekend. The farming game. You play the farming game? I like the first 3 quarters of the farming game, Colin, where everybody owns a farm. You struggle for like the first half, and then you're just making money hand over fist, and you're trying to see who makes the most money. Good game for people who don't know much about farming. Amanda, by the way, says the story about the bag ended with we were taking a picture, and short and sweet, but not much of a point. We did. That's when you froze. Was it that part?
Oh, okay. Actually, you froze. I was still good.
Yeah, you were good. You were talking to yourself, I'm sure. Told the whole story.
My son came in. He goes, "Dad, you're not on the internet anymore. You're stuck." I'm like, "Oh, well, I had some wonderful."
Right.
It's like that scene from. It's like the scene from what was the name of that movie with Will Ferrell? Old School, where he like blacks out. He's debating James Carville, and then he says like whatever he says, and he's like, "Oh, what just happened? I blacked out." And it's like the perfect answer. That's what that was. So.
And what the 4 people who are really here with us don't know is that 85 of those people hanging out with us right now are OG's kids with devices. So we can rank our YouTube channel up. That's our whole goal.
We'll get you. We'll get you one way or the other.
That's what we need to have happen. Have we heard from any exclusively VTSAX investors regarding their reaction? This is the part, Lori, as you know, where professionals said the VTSAX group was going to blow themselves up. And I hope not. I've
read some data supporting the fact that some investors have not done what we expected them to do. Like it hasn't been as bad, but the fixed income market is the other way. There's some really weird stuff going on with fixed income right now in terms of pricing. And there's a number of funds that are not pricing exactly accurately. So when you look in your statement, you see, hey, it's $10 a share. It's really not, because they haven't taken the time to go in and like go, well, this is not updating correctly. There was a fund that went down something like 22%, a top rated bond fund that went down 22% on Friday at the close, because they went, oh, we should probably price this correctly.
You're kidding me.
And yeah, so part of it, I think, is that I don't think the public market as it relates to stocks is having that issue, because all of those prices are pretty well known, but the more esoteric your investment is, and I don't think fixed income is that, but I'm just saying, you look at your investment statement, you've got private equity, or you look at your investment statement and you're investing in privately traded REITs or something like that. You might look and go, I'm not impacted at all by this. Well, you might be. It's just there's different rules for different investments, basically. And so I haven't talked to anybody. Listen, here's the thing. Nobody admits to it anyway. I remember a conversation. You remember when Ford was really bad, Joe?
Yes.
I mean, it's not so great now either,
yes.
But I mean, when it was like under $1.
Yes.
I had this guy walked into my office when I was in Michigan, and he's like, tell me why I need a financial planner. I put all my money in Ford stock. $200,000 in Ford stock when it was $1 a share. And I'm like, heck yeah, dude. Good work. Since they're trading at 10, you're a gazillionaire. High five. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, because obviously if you bought it at $1, 200 grand, and it's worth 10, it's 10 times worth as much now. You got 2 million, dude, high five. You should retire.
You're done.
Well, I mean, I don't have like a 2 million. I went up a little. Oh, okay. So what did you go up to before you saw? I mean, it's 950. Did you sell it at 950? No, I sold it like $1.05. It's like, so people are very reticent to talk about their money mistakes. And listen, it's not about one-upping somebody. I mean, we have a lot of angst around this, right? We have a lot of
about how am I doing versus somebody else.
Yeah. And if you happen to be at a cocktail party sometime the next year when they're allowed again, and everybody's like talking about how great their decision-making was, just remember that probably most of them are full of crap, because, people make bad decisions at this time, and hopefully none of the people that, listen to this, but the vast majority of Americans do. The vast majority of the public does. And, but they'll never say to you that they did. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's not like, I mean, do you brush your teeth twice a day, every day?
Yes.
Probably not.
Absolutely. I don't floss.
Yes.
Let's
if we could do the floss thing then, you know, I mean, do you go to the doctor every 6 months or every year and get your full annual physical?
No,
probably not, and you don't, if somebody asks you, hey, do you brush your teeth? You're not going to go, well, like every third day. You go, yeah, I brush my teeth. Yeah, I eat healthy. Yeah, I do this, because you don't want to be like, I ate a sleeve of Oreos yesterday. Oh, here was a really fun. This was a fun thing that was on Instagram. So we were talking about stories about. It was like the funny. It's the thing that Susan had. What was your coworker?
Your coworkers, yes,
your coworker thing or whatever. So this was somebody posted that your shelter in place name or your quarantine name is how you're feeling right now and the last thing that you got out of the pantry to eat.
Right.
And so mine was drunk Oreo. It was like Friday.
It's gonna be like lonely Oreo.
Yeah, exactly. So
the you know what you talked about stock investors, you and I looked at when we were prepping for a show, that either the show that aired today or the show that airs Wednesday. We were looking at volume. Remember the volume? The number of traders is through the freaking roof. And whenever you've trades through the roof and at the same time you have a market collapsing, that means there's a lot of people selling that shouldn't be selling.
Or it's program trades, or it's the computer algorithms. It's,
but with the number that much bigger than normal, it ain't all program trades. There's a lot of people participating in this market that shouldn't be, that frankly should be sitting. So Susan's wondering when it's socially acceptable to cough again, when I can actually cough on screen and everybody doesn't go, yeah, whoa, do you got it? Yeah. Good news is I suppose I could cough because we're on screen. Ethan wants to know, he says, what's up with the map of the states behind me? So if you look, so
terrible.
Initially when we moved to Michigan, I had our Stacking Benjamins podcast banner back here because I just needed something. And it was a placeholder, like this was meant to be a placeholder. So, but if you remember, that was our old logo, and
you didn't iron it.
Ben Franklin's head was, it's plastic. Ben Franklin's head,
still steam it or something.
Ben Franklin's head was right behind my head, and it had like this orb around me. It was just kind of creepy, weird. So then I threw this up. This, by the way, if you look over this shoulder, let's see if I can get my finger to point the right way.
Hard to point the right way.
It says Joey Sehy, Mrs. Berglund's third grade class. So my mom on my we'll call it my 39th birthday, gave this to me and had it framed. And you'll see, early signs of genius here. Notice that West Virginia gets a little beachfront property right there. So not just mountains, but also some beach. I understand Maryland took it on the chin. That little tiny blue dot there is Maryland. But by the way, you're welcome, Delaware. Delaware's huge, nearly half the size of Pennsylvania. So if I run for public office, I think Delaware and West Virginia.
A little redistricting going on.
little gerrymandering. Yes, North Carolina no longer has that hump. It just kind of goes the way it should. I mean, why wouldn't you just slope that? But just clearly genius.
A triangle.
That map. But anyway, that is that. Colin, Joe, your recommendation on Ginnie Mae funds for longer term savings a few months back, much appreciated. That's always been one of my favorite places. A lot of financial planners don't talk about Ginnie Mae's. Always done me well. Using a Ginnie Mae mutual fund as a spot. Now remember, if you're looking at Ginnie Mae's, guys, they can go down
as the interest rate goes up.
Yeah, Ginnie Mae's can go down, and they have gone down. So it's not appropriate for a 6-month goal. But if you've got money you want to sit somewhere for 3 years, and you're okay with the fact that over a 3-year period it might not make money and it might lose a little money, I'm a fan. So here we go.
You can hear that, right?
Wouldn't that be funny if your finger went through to my video? Like that would be, if it didn't disappear, it'd be creepy. All right, here we go.
That's where you have to like do your own, like right at that exact same spot.
We're getting more stop touching your face. Lori, I haven't left the basement. So
I know. I've left my house, but only for a walk. And but again, this is kind of normal for me. So, just and we got really lucky with all of this, frankly, because spring break happened the week of the 8th here at our place. So we were on spring break for a week. So we were already kind of at home. And then last week was the first week of like missing school, but the kids started doing like online school right away. So we're into like week 3 of this here. at our place. So I feel like from a distancing standpoint, we've been kind of doing it anyway. So, but
Yeah, well, OG distances as a life practice.
I do actually. I try.
That is not.
Like I'm not.
OG's like,
When
really?
I was in the military, we called them grenade magnets. You know, when you had more than a few people in one spot, it'd be a grenade magnet
Yeah,
for bad guys.
you were
So
never.
I just, you know, just as a matter of course, try to stay away from being part of the grenade magnet.
What
You
was
know, I mean, you think about it, there's like a group of people and then there's me. Like if you're a bad guy and you wanted to throw a grenade, you're not going to go with the single, you know, you're going to go with
no?
the group.
You take out a few. Yes,
So,
it's a life skill. Hashtag life.
it is, yeah.
Ben says best board games to play with 9 to 12-year-olds while we're at home social distancing.
Monopoly.
Don't play Monopoly.
Just throttle them.
Not to play. So we mentioned a couple of those here. Ticket to Ride is good. Settlers of Catan is fantastic. Those are some classic games. 9 to 12, I also like. I'm looking over here. Zooloretto, where you're creating a zoo. Have you played Zooloretto? Have we played Zooloretto? No. You're making
my kids I turn my kids loose on Mr. Jack.
Yes, Mr. Jack is a
time going through it. Yeah, one time you go through it, and they you have to kind of teach them a little bit, but after they get it, and then they can. That's a good hour and a half, 2 hours.
Takedo is a fantastic game. You're hiking in Japan. That's a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some. Kathy's here. Hey, Kathy. Kathy says, have we tried Zoom to do a game night? My sister wanted to do that. My sister wanted to use Zoom last night, and unfortunately, I had to go to bed. I was just going to bed because I wanted to wake up really early to work out this morning, and I couldn't do it. So hopefully tonight we'll play. We'll do Zoom. By the way, another place to go is Board Game Arena. BoardGameArena.com has a bunch of different games. The frustrating thing is so many people are trying to go to Board Game Arena. If you give them $2 a month, I think it was, you can play and you'll get through. But if you're using the free games, which is the majority of the games are free, and you don't give them any money, which you can do, you might have to press return several times. But I'm there enough that I decided that I would not go through that. Lori, Joe, what happened to the ginormous earphones? They are still here. So because of the fact that usually, by the way, so Bobby from Money with Friends, Bobby, who has a background in TV, had me buy this. So this is the thing that, TV anchors use, and it goes. So you'll see when we do Money with Friends now, that's just so you can see my hairstyle, my well done hair. But so we started using this thing. This, by the way, hurts the hell out of my ear, and I can't hear all that well. So I do it for Money with Friends.
You need to get a better mold. You can get a mold for those because we use them for my after school activity.
Yeah. I have to get a better mold because this mold is moldy or something. I don't know. But but when we make the show, I still wear these. But today, for whatever reason, my computer's not picking up I just have the speakers on. My computer's not picking up the echo. If it was, then we'd be there. We're boring OG.
Like always.
Eric says, a serious issue I have right now with both selling and buying is we simply don't know much yet. Our profits have, nobody knows. List goes on. So what should we base our stock picking on? Eric, I believe that if you're looking at individual stocks right now, you should be doing it with a plan in mind. And the data right now, OG, is going to be completely skewed. So there's another reason to stick with a plan that involves either index investing or looking at your long-term strategy and not a short-term, because it's like the guy on Twitter that was talking to me about buying Delta Airlines. He's saying the government won't let Delta Airlines go under. I thought the government wouldn't let the car companies go under, being in Detroit. We thought that the number one analyst covering Lehman Brothers, the day before Lehman Brothers went under, he said the government won't let it go under. We don't know what's going to go under. So I'm with Eric. We don't have enough data.
Yeah, except we do know that 5 years from now, this will be likely a distant memory, right? So that's kind of how I think about it.
A couple more questions here, then I think we are done. What's your thought on 100% equities for military members who have a government retirement?
I don't know why you'd have anything but 100% equities all the time.
Yeah, cash and equities. It's going to be a volatile portfolio when you compare it to one that has bonds in the middle. However, if you look at keeping your money for your goals, cash and equities historically has beaten the heck out of cash and bonds and equities. Next up. But once again, OG,
You gotta have a stomach for it.
Yeah. I was going to say, you say that a little, let's be clear. People with 100% equities right now, think about what you've got to be able to do. Got to be able to do.
Whether or not that was a good choice.
Yeah. Be able to do what Susan said, which is not look at it, smart move, or do what I do, which is look at it and not move. Right. You got to be able to do that because right now people are blowing up their financial plan. If all my banking's online, where can I cash out a fully matured savings bond?
The bank. Oh, you're saying there is no bank? Yeah.
Saying all the banking's online.
I think you can mail savings bonds to the Treasury Department.
Yeah, I think you can go to treasurydirect.gov, right? Treasurydirect.gov is
able to take that bond and convert it to an online position, and then liquidate it that way.
All right, OG, we did it. We've been here for over an hour. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. We'll try to do this again a little more often since we're all kind of stuck at home. And
now you get to know what it's like to be us.
I know. We were social distancing before it was cool. We were hanging out in a basement before everybody else was. I know you all wanted to be like us. That was.
You're welcome.
A couple more things. Number one is if you subscribe here on YouTube, another chance that you won't miss us. So subscribe to the Stacky Benjamins channel as we have more stuff here. You'll notice lately we've had a lot more stuff here on YouTube. We're going to continue that trend. In fact, I've got some video equipment sitting over there. I was talking to OG about making a new welcome video. So we're really working on the YouTube page. So hit subscribe there. Wednesday coming up on the show, another Ask Us Anything episode. A lot of fun. As we get questions far and wide there. Coming up on Tuesday, starting tomorrow, we've got round 2 of our bracket challenge. No basketball. So OG and I are helping you, and Gertrude are helping you cope with that by doing a Financial Geek meets sports competition. So round 2 of that happens starting tomorrow. Anything else, OG? We gotta hit before we say goodbye.
Be of good cheer. Be nice to your people. Be nice to your kids. Be nice to your neighbors. This too shall pass.
Did you see the video? Did you send me the video? Who was I talking to that had the video of the guy that said, so you've got 2 options. Option number 1 is hang out. And all you see is a video of the guy being presented the options. Option number 1 is hang out with your wife and kids, or option number 2 is, and the guy interrupts and goes, I'll take option number 2. Yeah,
I actually hate it. I think it's really, really, really obnoxious, but it's like, really? Hanging out with your spouse is such a terrible thing. Your kids, worst thing imaginable. It's like,
all right. I thought it was
a kernel of truth in everything.
I thought it was funny. My son is huddled up here with us from Washington, been here for a week, going to be here for most of this week too. Been fantastic. We play board games every day. We have a good time. That said, I thought it was funny as hell. The guy clearly was like, nope, I'll take whatever the other thing is.
Don't even care what number 2 is.
Doesn't even care. Yeah.
It's a funny. Ha 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 ha.
Ha ha. See you later.
See ya. Peace.